if cultural and linguistic diversity wasn't the norm some other time, it is now and it will be increasingly. So we can either see the needs as additional, which is the language that I hear sometimes in schools, or we can actually accept that these are the needs of our families and students, and those needs are what we are here to respond to. For culturally and linguistically diverse students that are from a non-English speaking background, they're learning a new language. They're learning about that language and they're also learning through that new language.
We've got a lot of students that come from an oral tradition, and so reading and writing is, for some of those students, has been really difficult, and for a lot of them it was very disengaging. How do we build on the children's oral language and help that move from their oral language into reading and writing, while at the same time exposing them to rich literature texts?
They'll start with the same text and they're scaffolded really closely by the teacher, where the teacher will read the text, the teacher will prepare the text and guide the group through the text.
And that's used as an example to provide a model for the students to know what really high quality writing looks like and the structure of it, so they know actually how to create it.
We've had opportunities to work together and share ideas and strategies about how we can improve the literacy of students from diverse backgrounds. We've seen the benefits for students, like explicitly teaching grammar in the senior levels, which doesn't always happen. We don't always have time to do things like that.
One of the big sort of realisations or things that the teachers were commenting on is we're not actually taught how to teach English as a language. So English teachers don't teach it that way. Italian teachers teach Italian as a language, but we don't do that. So it is a real struggle because lots of these teachers don't feel confident in themselves in how to teach all those different aspects, yeah.
What the teachers found that working towards a written outcome and having lots of opportunities for oral language, interaction, rehearsal and drafting is critically important, and particularly so in the secondary years. Providing students with plenty of scaffolds around the learning opportunities that are offered in the classroom, and so vocab lists that are brainstormed by the class and then available visual cues, setting the scene for the language that's going to be used in the unit of work. Those kinds of practices I think are absolutely invaluable and can be easily built into what teachers are already planning to do. Integrating it into mainstream practice, it doesn't matter how small a way, making incremental and continuous improvements with in those small ways is something that's critical. I sometimes talk with teachers about the kids being the content and then the curriculum being the background knowledge that the teacher has. Put that together and create new knowledge from that. Where the language teaching was combined with culturally responsive practices that invited children to bring their own and their families' cultural backgrounds and experiences into the content, as it were, engagement across the board was significantly increased.
Once you realise that, you know, there's quite a few different cultures represented, you really try and tap into their own experiences and the students' knowledge when designing tasks. And often that means not designing tasks at the beginning of the semester before you've even met your students. Often it means meeting your students, getting to know them, and then designing tasks from there that you think will allow them to demonstrate their strengths and abilities.
There was a group of, I think, Year 9 teachers, and they were basically given the curriculum that was common in that school, and it was that they would teach a comparison between Shakespeare's Taming of the Shrew and a film called 10 Things I Hate About You. That on face value would suggest a contemporisation of Shakespeare's language and thoughts and concepts, but it's still very much culturally based and culturally biased. They trialled starting with the experiences around relationships and marriage and so on in different cultures and different social settings. And when the students were invited to bring that knowledge to the classroom, they noted a greater engagement. They found that the students themselves became the content for at least part of the time, and they were then able to extract concepts from those experiences and from those discussions and relate those concepts then to both the play and the film. They also themselves learnt a great deal about the cultural backgrounds and the cultural assets of their classes.
At times where we learn a back past of a significant area in the world in history, and sometimes you don't hear about history of your country and all that, but they make up for it for other subjects that they can make, in religion. They find out what religion your country follows.
We do have to pay attention to the content, so see the kids as the content, but also think about the content that we're asking them to interact with and consider how relevant, culturally relevant it is and personally relevant. Over time you build a learning culture where the kids expect that what they bring is of value and is of importance and is a form of knowledge in itself. In order to be the best teacher that I can be, I need to learn as much as I can from my students and their families about them and their backgrounds and what they bring.